alive, and may we all be alive now. Welcome to the class. My husband will begin first, and he will be teaching the Parsha and the Haftorah today. And then I'm going to come in with Pirkei Avot, which we study at this time of year. So, although you could study it any time as well. Anyway, let me get you over to my husband so he can begin. Okay, enjoy everybody. Gotta call Rebbitzin. There you go. You got it? Is it good?
Yep. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And, we're so thrilled to be able to teach once again. Thank God the Almighty Spirit our lives. Rebbitzin Yisker and myself.
The center's not open, right? Conference?
Not yet, because I have to know if it's going to be needed or wanted. So we're very glad to be able to continue the series on the Torah portion that's read on this Shabbos. The beginning of the portion is read on Monday morning and normally on Thursday morning, but this coming Thursday, this week, is Rosh Chodesh. So it'll be a Rosh Chodesh reading for Thursday and for Friday of Tammuz, which we'll speak about probably in the Halacha class too, with regard to Rosh Chodesh and special days in the month of Tammuz. Right now, we want to devote our attention to the weekly portion. The book of Numbers, as we've seen already, has a number of very severe incidents in it. We learned recently about the spies making a terrible complaint and terrible words, evil words about the land of Israel, our beloved land of Israel, for which our soldiers are giving their lives right at this moment. At this very moment. And we learned about a number of complaints about food, complaints about the miraculous man that they had. And the reason that the Torah contains these things is because each one of them has a basic lesson for us for our daily lives. When we think wrongly, when we think that these events took place so many centuries ago, what relevance do they have to today? The Torah is universal. The Almighty selects what He wants in His Torah. That's why it's there. Yeah. I should
call the conference.
Conference. Okay, I'm going to get the conference center going as well. It just doesn't take long, hopefully, and I'll be right with you. But we can already start to think of how these stories, they're not just stories, they are events in our history, major events, which still shape our lives. And when we study about them, I wouldn't do that crazy thing. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry to tell you that you and I were there too. Our souls were there. Our souls were at Mount Sinai, and our souls with that generation that was in the wilderness, etc., etc. So we can't really cut ourselves out of it. I'll be right with you and try to do this quickly to get the conference call going. So we have to look for relevance. That's the first thing we have to look for is relevance. What does it have to do with us?
Conference dial. Welcome and thank you for choosing freeconferencecall.com. You are helping people around the world communicate for free. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. Please re-enter your access code followed by pound or hash sign. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please wait, and you will be joined into the conference.
Okay. Is Rebbitzin Cass going to use it?
Yeah.
Please announce yourself.
Okay, this is Rabbi Schaefer giving the Parsha class this evening with Rebbe Tziniska as well. And
Okay.
yeah, very good,
Is
hero.
she there?
Yeah. You want to hold it? I'm
Why
not
do
sure how
I
to
hold
I
it?
should hold it. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Rebbe. We wanted to point out that each passage in the Torah, even though there are stories and events that happened so long ago, they're there for a reason because they are completely attached to all the Jewish people of all time, whenever we're living, wherever we're living. These events that took place that we're studying about in Chumash Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, are completely relevant to us, and we have to see in what way they are connected with us. We also see the mistakes that our ancestors made, and to learn from the mistakes, not to repeat them, not to repeat the same mistakes. So, this is very brilliant and a very capable, a super rich person, extremely rich person, who had an enormous amount of wealth, more than others of the Jewish people at the time. And he went so far completely off as to make a rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu, against the Torah, and actually against God himself. That's how far off that he went.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to figure out how could somebody go so far off? What does it take? And when we find out what caused it, it's ridiculous. That's foolish. That's what he was making a big deal about. I wouldn't do that. I'm afraid we do things like that too. So we're going to try to spend some time to understand what went wrong and how far he went wrong. So the verse begins in this week's portion by Kach Korach, and Korach took Ben Yitra ben Koz ben Levi. It gives us genealogy. He was the son of Yitzhar, who was the son of Koz, the son of Levi, the famous Levi, the son of Jacob, but Jacob is not mentioned. V'dosin v'aviram. Korach is a Levite, and you should know that he had a tremendous honor. He's complaining about how others got a job that he wanted. There's a position that he wanted, and that's why he makes this whole rebellion, as we explain soon. He was one of the Levites who carried the Holy Ark in the wilderness. What bigger honor could you have than that? To carry the Holy Ark. What was in that Holy Ark? The Ten Commandments. The tablets that Hashem had written the Ten Commandments on. The second set of tablets. According to another explanation too, that the very first Torah scroll was also either in the ark or on a shelf outside the ark as well. So he had a tremendously important position, but that wasn't good enough for him. So it says that he took. What did he take? We have to find out what he took. We'll find out soon. But he has partners in his crime, others that he pulls along with his wrong ideas, which we'll find out soon. But Dosan v'Aviram, Dosan and Aviram b'nei Eliyav v'Om ben Peles b'nei Reuven. The setup in the wilderness was that the three families of Levi were placed around the Mishkan. Kohos, which we're speaking about, Kohos was a family of Levi who carried the Holy Ark, the altars, the Holy Table, etc., etc. They were situated for camping and traveling too on the southern side of the Mishkan. In that area also, if you go further down south, you would find the tribe of Reuben also in the south. We have a famous expression, Oil Rasha, oil Shechena, woe to a wicked person, woe to his neighbor, because of the terrible influence that the wicked person has on the neighbor. And here the wicked person in this case is a man named Korah. We have to find out what he took and what was his beef, what was his big complaint that caused him to rebel against Moshe and Aaron, rebel against the Torah, rebel against God himself. Terrible, unbelievable. What big thing, what big issue was there that caused him to go so completely off, so berserk, as we call it in English? Meshuggah, please. This caused a tremendous tragedy amongst the people, that he was swallowed up by the earth, along with those who followed him, etc., etc. It must have been something enormous that he was complaining about. We'll have to find out soon. first of all, whom did he take? It says that he took. He took the first explanation is he took himself. He separated himself from the Jewish people to make himself a rebel, that he knows better, and that Moshe Rabbeinu made up commandments. Commandments. He made up commandments. Mezuzah. You know how every Jew and Jewish have to have a mezuzah on their door. He made mezuzah. The mitzvah tzitzis. You know where they tell us with the strings. He made up that too.
What do you mean made up?
He said that Moshe Rabbeinu made up these commandments. That's what his complaint was. Terrible. Moshe Rabbeinu had made up these commandments on his own. Moshe Rabbeinu had given the different positions like high priest to his brother Aaron on his own. All these things, of course, were under the close and complete direction of the Almighty, of God himself. So what is it that got him so off the track that he is going so far, not only himself, but to mislead, actually, at one point, all the Jewish people? He had all the Jewish people on his side. And the Almighty was again disgusted with us to the point that he wanted to destroy us again. And once again, Moshe Rabbeinu was able to save the Jewish people. So we have to understand what he took. He took himself apart. He took himself apart from all the people to rebel and to make a tremendous attack upon Moshe and Aaron, and even on the Torah, and even on we'll soon see God himself too. Really, really amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we'll go into this a little bit. Second explanation of whom did he take? He goes south from where his tent is located, and he takes 250 of the chief rabbis of the tribe of Reuben. In fact, they were the heads of the rabbinical courts. He goes for big people. He influenced them as well to join him in his rebellion. So we have to understand exactly what it was that turned him off so badly. And you'll be amazed when you say, that's ridiculous, it's foolish. Okay. Korach was the son of Yitzhar. It's a cousin with Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu's father, Amram, was Korach's uncle. So we have two cousins over here. And Korach noticed that each of the families of Levi, remember we said with there's three families, and they have special functions to fulfill in the wilderness, transporting the holy ark, as we mentioned, that was Kohath, carrying the special curtains that made up the Mishkan, and the special boards, all these different things. The three families of Levi, they were appointed with their different tasks. What was bothering Korach was that a younger cousin was selected to be the leader of the Kohath family. This bothered him enormously. A younger cousin. Why wasn't he given that honor? Moshe's the king. Aaron, his brother, is the high priest. I should be next in line because the next son of Levi, we have Amram, we have Yitzhor. That was Korach's father. I should be next in line for any kind of significant honor. What happened? The son of the youngest, there were four brothers actually, Amram, Yitzhor, Hebron, and Uziel. That the father of Moshe's Amram. Yitzhor was Korach's father. That's why he felt he's next in line for any kind of an honor. Then Hebron, the third son, and the last one is Uziel. Amram, Yitzhor, Hebron, Uziel. And who was selected to be the head of the Kohath family, to be the leader there? This youngest cousin, this younger cousin, not me. Korach let his jealousy and his foolishness get to him to such an extent that he is turning against Moshe. You must have made everything up on your own. You chose yourself to be king. You chose your brother to be Aaron. You overlooked me. I should have been next in line for any kind of special position. You're probably telling me that's not such an enormous position. It's an important one. Is it enough to make a huge rebellion? So I want us to think about this. This is in our Holy Torah, and it's for us to study and to think about very carefully. In our lives, have we ever made a super big mistake? Maybe we got an idea. Someone gave us that idea. We thought, this is great. This is something I want. This is what I want to do. It's going to hurt other people. It might even hurt me. I don't care. It sounds so important and so great. I've got a real big beef over here. I've got a complaint to make, a protest, right? You see how crazy protests are all around the world? That's when people are led astray. They're led astray by wicked people. Can you imagine that American citizens, Jewish American citizens, are so fooled and completely taken out of their wits that they are rebelling against not only the United States of America, burning the American flag, supporting Hamas, the terrible enemies of the Jewish people who are out to destroy us altogether. They're supporting Hamas. This is very similar to how crazy Korach was as well. Yes, he was very brilliant. The smarter and the more brilliant the person is, that's how big they are, that's how low they can fall also when they get full of themselves. You ever hear that expression? Full of themselves, full of their own cover, full of their own importance, and how smart they are and how rich they are, etc., that they let all kind of sensibility and reason go out the window. That's the whole thing that bothered Korah. This position, it's not even the top position amongst, it's an important position, yes, of course. He felt he was overlooked. Because he's overlooked, he has to make the one who made the appointments, Moshe Rabbeinu, he has to show that he's completely false. He makes up things on his own. He gives the honors to people he feels he should give the honors to. This is all, of course, very wrong. The Almighty gave instructions to Moshe Rabbeinu for each position, for what each person is supposed to do. We should only fulfill, that's you and I also. We should fulfill what God has given us to do. Fulfilling His wonderful Torah. Seeing what influence, good influence we can be, to influence others to do the right thing. And that includes not only keeping our Torah, but showing respect for the country. That's part of our Torah too. Did you know that one of the laws of our Torah is to give respect to the government? Proper respect to the government. Well, we're living in an age of politicians, as you know, as of all ages. Politicians, many of whom are wicked and out for themselves. We have crazy politicians who say that these illegal immigrants murder. They've attacked women. They've done all kinds of terrible and dangerous things, etc., etc. Some of these politicians, as you know, are defending them. You have no right to send them out of the country. You have no right to deport them. This is ridiculous. Rebelling against the government, rebelling against the President of the United States, the Constitution, whatever it may happen to be. This is what happens when people get a crazy idea in their head. Sometimes it's put there by the others. They didn't come up with it on their own. But instead of thinking carefully, is this common sense? Does this make sense that enemies of the country and enemies of the individual citizen, you and I, individuals, innocent citizens, their lives are put into great danger by these people who feel, oh, you got to show mercy for them, these criminals. These people who are so dangerous, they were thrown out of their own country because they were criminals, and their own country says, oh, we'll dump them on America, get rid of them, open up the prison, open up the crazy hospitals, the insane hospital, all those places, just dump them on America, sure, get rid of them. Very nice of them, isn't it? Very nice. So what does Korach do? He acts like a real politician. Do you think I'm complaining just for myself? That I'm complaining about Aaron? I'm complaining about Moses himself? You think this is just for me? I'm doing this for you. Isn't that what we hear from politicians all the time? They're out to get a position. They're out to get your vote. They're out to try their own crazy agenda. A leftist, very often a woke philosophy, all their crazy things. I'm doing this for all of you, not just for me. I'm on your side. Oh my goodness. You should vote for me. We hear this all the time. Korah did the same thing. A politician. I'm doing this for all of you. Look what Moses does. He picks all the honors. He takes all the honors and his brother, etc., etc. And you and I, weren't we at Mount Sinai? Aren't we all equal? Aren't we all equal together? Why is Moses the leader, the king, and Aaron the high priest? And other complaints he makes as well. I'll read you some of the things that went on. He comes up with these chief rabbis of the tribe of Reuben. That's their neighbors. Woe to the wicked person, woe to their neighbor who's influenced by it. And they all wear a robe. You know what a tallis is? It's a prayer robe. A tallis used to be a jacket, like you and I would wear a jacket. And everybody had one, not for prayer, but they had one just as part of their garment, part of their suit. And it had four corners and it had to have the tzitzis on it, those strings that we have. The law of tzitzis we can only partly fulfill now because we're supposed to have also a techelis. It's sort of a greenish blue dye, and two of the strings are supposed to be dyed with that coloring. We don't have it right now. We're waiting for Mashiach to come and guide us as to how to make that special dye. So Korach's wife, here's another instance. The Jewish woman can be a tremendous influence over her husband, over all the Jewish people. We know how safely the Jewish women were in Egypt. The men said, forget about having kids. What are you going to do? You're going to throw them in the Nile River? That's what the Pharaoh's going to do? They are going to be enslaved like we are, live a horrible life. So the Jewish women encourage their husbands. You're worse than Pharaoh. You're worse than Pharaoh. You're going to destroy the Jewish people altogether. We have to have faith in God. He is going to take us out. We don't know when. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen. But we have faith that it's going to happen. They saved the Jewish people. Many situations like that, as you know. Miriam watched over her baby brother in the Nile River. And Pharaoh's daughter, who converted to Judaism, she saved Moshe Rabbeinu, baby Moshe. All through Jewish history. Queen Esther is example after example. Even the Hanukkah story too. Yehudis, many Jewish women were involved in saving the people altogether, having that courage, even if their own lives were placed in terrible danger. So Korah gets his group together, which he influenced with his false idea. All the people, Kolanu Kedoshim, we're all holy. We're all at Mount Sinai. There's no need to have any leaders. There's no need to have any kind of bosses. We're all equal. It sounds very democratic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the communists. We're all equal, but some of us are more equal than others. Well, they put on these robes. I'm calling it a tallis, but it's not a prayer robe. It was just simply a jacket, like you and I would put on a jacket. Men put on a jacket today. That would be a four-cornered garment that people would wear. You know, there's something a little bit like it. It's a Mexican garment, and it has four corners. It's called a poncho. A poncho, maybe you've seen it. Mm-hmm. It has four corners and a hole in the middle. A hole in the middle, that's how you put it on, etc. At any rate, just to show you that there's such a thing today, too. So, Korach's wife saw her husband come home from the study hall. Moshe's had regular study lessons for all the Jewish people. What did you learn today? What came up today? We learned about tzitzis, right? We learned the mitzvah tzitzis, that a four-cornered garment has to have these strings on the corners, as we do for this very day. And also amongst the strings is supposed to be on each corner at least 2 strings of this uh, wool that's dyed with the greenish blue wool. It's one of the commandments in the Torah. It's called a psil techeles, or a blue thread, greenish blue thread. So she encourages her husband to make fun and find whatever mockery mock Moshe Rabbeinu. So she says, "I'll tell you what. I'm going to make you all a robe that's totally not just the 4 corners, but these robes will be completely made out of this blue wool." You go up to Moses and say, on another kind of garment that's not all blue like yours are, 2 strings is enough on each corner in order to fulfill the commandment. Do these robes make completely out of blue wool? Do they need the strings? And they go up to Moshe Rabbeinu and they say to him, do these robes need to have the tzitzis as well? And Moshe Rabbeinu answers, yes, a 4-cornered garment, no matter what its coloring, is supposed to have these fringes. So they start making fun of him and saying, you made up the law yourself. You invented that commandment yourself. Another example of this was too, one of our precious commandments is mezuzah, that on the doorpost of each room, not the bathroom, not a place where it's not what you would call respectful, clean, we place a mezuzah. Mezuzah is not a little box. It's not a little ornamental box. Inside is a parchment scroll, a little parchment scroll that has the Shema Yisrael and B'hoim Shemoah. It has those 2 paragraphs of the Shema in the scroll. And one of our 600 commandments is, like the tzitzis, is to place that on each doorpost, not just the doorpost where you enter, but each room, the bedroom, the kitchen, etc., library, even a playroom. It's supposed to have this scroll on the doorpost. So we come up with another opportunity to make fun of Moshe Rabbeinu. What if you have a whole book of holy Sfarim? You can see some of mine, by the way, in back of me. I took up my wife's whole apartment when I came, married her, and I came. I took up her whole apartment. I have something like 10 bookcases of holy books of the Torah. And my library sounds big. It's small compared to other rabbis, by the way. But this is what we could squeeze in here. What if you have a room that's all full of holy books? It has God's name. It has the Bible. It has the Code of Jewish Law that you and I study on Thursday nights. You have the Talmud and the Mishnah and all the explanations of the Torah. The whole room is full of that. Do you need this little teeny tiny scroll with just 2 paragraphs of the Torah in it? You have to have it. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, yes, you have to have it. A room of a Jewish home has to have a mezuzah in each room. So I said, you made it up yourself. If this little scroll is enough for the whole room, the room is full of Torah, the room is full of all God's words and God's books, you still have to have that little teeny tiny scroll there. So they mocked him and made fun of him and gave the impression that he made up the Torah and he made up all the appointments, etc., etc. Again, what was his beef? He didn't get this position, which wasn't even the highest position. He didn't get this position that he felt he deserved. And because he was passed by, he's going to rebel and make a mockery of the holiest person who ever walked the earth, Moshe Rabbeinu. We must think how we have also, in our lifetimes, gotten a crazy idea, a nutty idea. It may have been as a kid, I have to have this thing, or I have to do this thing, or I have to watch this program, I have to go to that movie, all the crazy, stupid things that we do as kids, right? I'm going to ride a bike, I'll take my hands off like that person, God forbid, get badly hurt, etc., etc. I'm going to outrun, I'm going to outrace, all the things that we do for no really necessary reason. And what happens? Either, God forbid, one can be hurt, or they hurt others in the process as well. And that shows us how careful we must be not to let our mind run away with our own personal feelings. Maybe that's happened to you too. Maybe you didn't get a job or you didn't get a certain honor. Sometimes this happened in the synagogue. Someone felt they didn't get an honor that they deserved. During the holidays, during Shabbat, we have different honors. Sometimes it's an aliyah to the Torah. Maybe it's another honor that's there. And the person says, they looked over me. They ignored me. They didn't give me what's my true rights, etc. I'm going to get a whole congregation against the rabbi. This has happened. Of course, this has happened. This has happened. That someone turns everybody against the rabbi. Don't you have a complaint also to the rabbi, something like that? Well, nobody's perfect, but such. See what I mean? See what I mean?
Right.
So we have to discernment, just Rabbi Tziniska's wonderful teaching. The thoughts that enter our minds, a feeling of jealousy, a feeling of envy, a feeling of anger. Very often, our animal soul goes to town with stupid, ridiculous things that only hurt our souls. Let's take some simple examples too. I gave you an example of the leftist politicians who are trying to we should keep illegal immigrants who are dangerous to the country. Not only they came in illegally, but they're very dangerous to you and I as well. Stop the president, go to court, go to the Supreme Court, and say he's got no right to send away these lovely, wonderful people. They're such wonderful, wonderful people. How stupid that is. Is it? Well, something happened today. I have to report, I don't like to talk too much about politics either. But you all heard of Putin, right? He was the head of Russia, who was actually a very wicked man. You might find it interesting to know that at times he's been good to the Jewish people. You know why? When he was a kid, his parents were both working, and he was left all alone. There was a Jewish family that befriended him, and they invited him, and they fed him in their home as well, and treated him very nicely. He did remember that, and there are times that he's been very wonderful to the Jewish people. Anyways, this head of Russia, watch this, gets a crazy idea in his head. I want Russia to be the way it was years ago, Mother Russia. All these countries, Bulgaria, Hungary, there's a whole list of them that originally were from part of the Russian Empire. I have to return Russia to its great, great glory. I'm the boss. I'm the top person here. Their horrible communist party, etc., to all of their crazy things, etc., etc. So what does he do? He attacks Ukraine. He thought he'll roll over it like a steamroller, like that machine that goes and makes pavement. It puts new pavement down. You've probably seen them put the black pavement down and smooth it out. He thought he'd just roll over Ukraine like nothing, just take it over in a week or two. Now it's how many years going on? And how many thousands of Russian young men have died? It's an unbelievable disgrace. Thousands and thousands. It might be, by this time, it could be close to 100,000. I'm not kidding. You could have a whole city of people that he killed. He caused them to die. Ukraine doesn't take it sitting or lying down. They're fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their freedom all this time. Okay. So that's a matter of ego, what we call ego, a crazy idea. I have to make Russia, I have to take over all these countries that split away. I got to take all of them. It's not happening. It's not going. It's not steamrolling. It's with tremendous losses, loss of money as well, ruining the Russian economy too. Now let me show you how this kind of crazy idea. This Putin criticizes the United States and Israel for bombing the three places where they make the atomic bomb most and best. He's accusing the United States and President Trump of doing something terrible to another country. Did he forget that he has attacked a completely innocent country, Ukraine, and has been killing their people and bombing them to pieces because of his crazy idea? Was it Israel's crazy idea to stop the most wicked country with the most dangerous weapon from continuing their threats to annihilate completely, destroy the Jewish people completely, like Haman, like Pharaoh, like Nebuchadnezzar, like all the lists of troublemakers all the way through time? Like Hitler, Yamach Shmova, that one we remember. The others we don't remember. Okay. Look at the hypocrisy there. He's criticizing the United States for defending against a dangerous, dangerous weapon, a dangerous country, crazy, crazy country, dangerous country with a Haman whose name is Khomeini today. He's the Haman of nowadays, a Haman from the Purim story. He's criticizing Israel. What about him? You went for nothing, absolutely nothing, and you go and attack a free country, Ukraine. They weren't bothering you. They weren't taking anything away from you. This is again to show you, once again, I'm trying to show you this basic lesson. Now, I may have to take a few more minutes from Rebbe Sanyiska.
Take all you need. Don't worry.
When a person allows their mind to become so distorted and so polluted with stupidity and envy and arrogance, I'm the top person, I should be given the big honors, etc. Nobody should be the boss of the Jewish people. Like fun, it was supposed to be him. Okay. His mind went so far off the track that he denied that God created the world. I know he's angry at Moses and Aaron. I know he's jealous about their position. I know he feels he should be the top banana, top guy in the totem pole. You see how this rots when a person allows their mind to rot and to be ruined with jealousy, with arrogance, haughtiness, how far that goes. Not only is he better than Moses and Aaron, not only should he be over there, he should be the high priest, not Aaron. Not only that, God shouldn't be God. It's unbelievable how far he went. God shouldn't be God. The world was always here, God forbid. You hear what went into his mind? This is what envy, jealousy, and arrogance, when you think you're so rich and you're so smart, and you feel smart, exactly, smarter than the Almighty himself. Nothing was created. We were all here. Everything was there. And therefore, one human being has no right to be boss over other human beings. Of course, except for me. Except for me. All this falsehood he used to persuade the people. Fortunately, temporarily, he succeeded. What happened? I'm just going to read a little bit more. Moses prayed to the Almighty to rescue the situation. He said something very, very interesting. It's a little bit frightening, but it's very interesting. Vayomer Moshe said, Bezos Teidun, with this you're going to know, Ki Hashem Shlachani, God sent me to do all these things, including giving the appointments, including the appointment of the cousin that you're jealous of to be head of the family of Kohath. With this you shall know that God sent me lasosis kolamasim or to all these things, ki lomi libi. I did not make it up like you're accusing me. In Kemos Kolodom Yimusun Ela, these wicked people, if they die the way human beings normally die, Ufkurish Kolodom Yipaked Alehem, and the visitation of God upon them, Lo Hashem Shlachani, then he's right. If these people have a natural death, a normal death, then God didn't send me. I made it all up like he says. However, the Bria Yivra Hashem, if God will make a new creation, God will make a new creation. The world will open up its mouth uvola osam, and swallow them up, is kolashilahim, and all that there is to them, v'yordu chaim she'ola, they'll go down alive to the grave. V'datem, you'll know, kiniyat suhuna shema elas Hashem, that these wicked people have angered the Almighty. When he finished Ladabir to speak, all these words, and the earth split, Ashir Taktim, that was under Korach, under his family, under all those that were following him. And those heads of the leaders from the tribe of Reuven, those chief rabbis, a great fire came and consumed them. It sounds like it was a great earthquake. An earthquake doesn't swallow and then close its mouth. Here, wherever one of these wicked people was, the earth made like a funnel and they rolled into the hole, no matter where they were. Even if they had, their property was also destroyed. Let's say they had a shirt in the laundry. A shirt in the laundry. God made a miracle and that went into the hole. All their property, their money, gold, silver, everything that they own, everything completely swallowed up. And then the earth closed its mouth. The commentaries point out there are earthquakes in the different countries, but nothing like this one. Not like this one whatsoever. Now that's what Moses said to the Almighty. If they have a normal death, that means I made up everything myself. But if God makes a new creation, or he brings a creation from the beginning of creation, this was prepared from the beginning of creation, then you can see that these people were absolutely wicked. So God proves his point clearly like that. All right, Rebbe Sanyiska asked me, all right, the main lesson to take out from it is when you feel, I have to do it, I have to say it, I have to buy it, I have to eat it, I have to experience it, whatever. Have to have. As soon as you have to, you know it's the evil inclination inside us that's making us crazy over something foolish. Thinking things over carefully. Is this a proper thing to say? Is it a proper thing to do? Is it kosher? Is it the Sabbath? Is it a holy day? What should I be doing at this time? Amongst my crazy stories I did tell you from time to time, in Israel, you can understand why the Almighty gets upset and these horrible things take place. A number of years ago, there was someone who started a new custom in Israel for the holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Where are we supposed to be on Yom Kippur? In the synagogue, right? In the synagogue. And the day is spent fasting and praying to God for forgiveness. So unfortunately, there are many in Israel who have not had the proper training or don't want the proper training. He started to make a new custom. What's the new custom for Yom Kippur? Have a bike ride. A bike ride. That's how to celebrate Yom Kippur. Not prayers, not fasting. Ride around on your bike. That's the special custom he's inventing for Yom Kippur. Again, what do you have? That's the Korach mentality. A crazy idea. A crazy idea. What if he had an idea like this? You know, Yom Kippur is a nice day to visit the sick. It's a good day to people who are not feeling well. It's a great day to visit the sick. Don't go to the synagogue. No. Don't go to the synagogue. No, don't do anything like that. Don't do anything that's too religious. No. But it would be a nice thing to go to visit the sick. Not because the Torah says so, it's just a nice thing to do. That, at least, is a reasonable suggestion, any sensible suggestion that people would not criticize, people would not make fun of. Tell me, what does a bike ride do for Yom Kippur? Does that make you a better person? Does it give you the opportunity to think of how you spent your life and how you should spend the rest of your life? I don't think so. It's just what you would call simply recreation. Rec, W-R-E-C-K, recreation. Creating a wreck of Yom Kippur, God forbid. Rebbe Sinyiska asked me, Rebbe Sinyiska, I'm almost done. Okay. Rebbe Sinyiska asked me to speak about the Haftorah as well. It's going to take me a few minutes, but I want to tell you, as we always know, the passage from the prophets that's read after the Torah reading is always related either to the Torah reading, or if it's a special day, a holiday, a special Sabbath, then that Haftorah from the prophets is a passage that is appropriate to be linked together with that Torah portion. So I'm going to let you think about this. I'll tell you a little bit about it. The Haftorah is from the book of Samuel, and for many years the Jewish people did not have a king. There would be a leader. It might be a religious leader. It might not even be a learned person, but a person who put their energy and put themselves out for the sake of the Jewish people. One of the greatest leaders of the Jewish people was the prophet Samuel. In fact, we read about his birth on Rosh Hashanah. A very, very beautiful Torah there too. Now, Samuel was very devoted. He was a prophet, and he was the leader of the Jewish people at his time. And he wasn't satisfied to sit home and let people come to him. He had a route, a circuit they call it, like a circuit judge or a circuit leader. He had a route in which he went from city to city in Israel on a certain route, so that people could make themselves I'm sorry, I said it backwards. He made himself available for the Jewish people to come to him. And you would go to, he was a judge of the Jewish people, not just for law courts and crime and this and that and damages, etc., etc. He was there for advice. He was there to encourage all the people to come closer to the Almighty, and he was a wonderful inspiration. In some respects, he was equal to both Moses and Aaron that we're just speaking about. That's how great he was. Both Moses and Aaron, that's how great he was. A kindly person, a loving person, a devoted person. This is how he spent his life. What do the people come? What do they do? How do they show their appreciation? Samuel, we want to have a king, like all the other nations have a king. I mean, it's nice what you do. That's nice and all that good stuff and everything. We want to have a king. If they wanted to have a king, there's such a commandment in the Torah to appoint a king. If their reason was that the king is going to keep them in line as he's supposed to, King David is the best example of that. King David. King David is the best example of a king who brought the people back and closer to the Almighty. Got rid of the idol worship, got rid of the influences and the enemies of the Jewish people. The internal enemies like you have in Israel right now. You have terrible terrorists. You have Palestinians who hate us. Look, we did everything for them. We gave them Gaza. We gave them a country within Israel to live in. No, they just hate us anyway. They hate us anyway. Is that thanks to Samuel? Is that a way to show appreciation? We want to have a king. You're not good enough for us anymore. We have to have a king. And we want to be like all the other nations and have a king and show off our king and have all this glory and have all this, etc., etc. It was a tremendous slap in the face to Samuel. He was very hurt. Does this have anything to do with the Torah reading we just discussed? Can you find any similarities? After all Moses had done for the Jewish people, going back to the 10 plagues, going back to teaching them the Torah, going back to praying for them for forgiveness when they went way off beat. All the things he had done for them. He brought down the manna from heaven, etc. All the wonderful things that he had done for them. Was that appreciation to rise up again and accuse him? You made yourself king. You made your brother a high priest, etc. You invented the Torah. God didn't even create the universe, which you taught us. Do you see a similarity? Yes, there's a great similarity. The Jewish people had a wonderful leader, a wonderful prophet. Yes, there's a time and a place to have a king, but not just to be like all the other nations who follow crazy kings like Putin, like Chai Pai in China, etc., like your Khomeini Haman in Iran, etc., etc. There's a time to have a proper Jewish king and to follow that Jewish king. Well, God told them, don't feel bad, Samuel. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting me, God himself. That's how the Almighty comforted Samuel, etc. So he gave them what they wanted. And the first king was King Saul, who started out being a very, very righteous and wonderful person. There's many stories we could tell you about him as well. Samuel said, if your king will lead you to keep the Holy Torah, keep the commandments, you'll enjoy tremendous prestige and success, which is what you're looking for. But if you're going to go astray, as unfortunately many of the kings of the Jewish people did, and they went way off the path, then it's the opposite of good health, success, and all these wonderful things. So you can see that the Haftorah mirrors, it literally mirrors the portion where people show their ingratitude for a wonderful, wonderful leader. Rebbitzin Yiska? I believe she's going to join you very soon. At any rate,
Rabbi Skoye, thank you so much.
oh, Brukati, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for this wonderful, wonderful participation. Yeah, we have to pray so hard to Hashem. The only one who can help us is the Almighty himself. We get criticism from all over the world. We get criticism from hypocrites. Putin, he attacked the country, but he says that President Trump did the wrong thing to bomb the atomic or stop the atomic bomb. You see what kind of a world we are in. I'm a sugar Welt, a crazy Welt, a crazy, crazy world. Thank you very much. Rebbe Zinyiska is good. Rebbe Zinyiska, can you hear me? I don't think she's going to join us soon. Anyways, just I'll mention once again that Wednesday night, which is tomorrow night, is Rosh Chodesh, and also Friday is Rosh Chodesh as well. And we have special added prayers, the Yalav Yovo prayer, which is in the grace after meals, and also in the Shemona Esrei. You and I have been studying the Shemona Esrei. So when we get to Thursday night, I certainly should go through that with us, that additional prayer for Rosh Chodesh. Also, we read in the morning a special Torah reading, which tells us the special offerings for Rosh Chodesh. And did you know that Rosh Chodesh is a holiday especially for the Jewish woman? It's a special holiday for the Jewish woman that they're supposed to be excused of any kind of hard or very laborious work. Why? Why is it a special holiday for them? Because when the men said, we want your earrings, your gold earrings, and we want your gold nose rings and your finger rings. Give us all your gold, ladies, for your jewelry, because we want to make a golden calf. You know what the women did? Forget it. You're not getting anything. What did the men do? Listen, the men. The men had golden jewelry too. They took their own golden jewelry. Their wives and the kids, even the kids, would not cooperate. So because the Jewish woman refused to participate, they also, when it came to donating to the Holy Temple, the Mishkan in the wilderness, they were the first and so eager in every way to give whatever they could for the sake of the Holy Temple. They even made the special holy curtains, the huge curtains of the Mishkan.